I think one of the very important things about creating a character really is having a visual. While you don't necessarily need one, I think it's really special connecting yourself with that character. I'm all for visual references of things. I know that not everyone really wants to draw, especially if you're not at the skill set you want to be able to draw that character. I know I have a bunch of characters that just kind of exist in my head because I'm too afraid to draw them. So here's some of the alternatives I like to use instead of AI, because I'm a very avid disliker of AI, and I feel like there's just so many more ways to visualize a character without the use of other people's work meshed together. Does that make sense? So this is a compilation of everything that I've ever used. So first off and foremost, any dress-up game is going to help you out. And I mean this in like everything. If there's a character customization in any game whatsoever, you can make a character out of it. And I love character customization in games. It's probably my favorite feature ever, especially when it's something that is really expanded upon. So dress-up games, or just character customization in general, is my favorite way of going about visualizing a character without AI. One of the things I can think of off the top of my head for specifically fandom characters is I really like using the Pokemon games. Like, I remember Sword and Shield when I was borrowing it from my cousin. I absolutely loved the different hairstyles that you could have, the outfits, and I think this is also especially helpful for particular fandoms. If you want to create a fandom-based character, it can help you kind of get a grasp on the art style and create a character within the constraints of that art style. Does that make sense? But besides that, there's a bunch of different ones, and I'm sure I'm going to list ones that most people know. These are ones that I've used, and, I'll talk about how useful they were. First off, I think this is one of the easier ones to find, is Gacha Life. This is one of the ways, again, that I've made a lot of my characters that have existed for a really long time. All of the different gacha games have different varying levels of customization, and I think it all really depends on the art style. There's a lot of reasons I really love Gacha Studios' more detailed versions of characters, but I also really love the levels of customization that come in the later installments. And as much as there's a lot of stigma around gacha for the many different shapes it's taken over the years, it's undeniably a really good way for customizing and visualizing your character. This second one is a little bit different from the other ones that I've talked about, but I have discussed it around, I want to say 2021 to 2022. I was on Everskies a lot, and while it's partially a dress-up game but also partially a social media website, I created a lot of different really cool characters through Everskies. One of the nice things about Everskies is there's just so many really cool pieces and layering that you can do. I absolutely loved making detailed pieces. I probably have a bunch of them saved from my phone from like forever ago. Each of these pieces that exist on Everskies is, again, done by an artist. I just think it's really cool. They have a bunch of different styles also. I'm not sure how the space is on Everskies now, social media-wise, because I've seen some crazy things. But alone as a dress-up game, it's cool. It has a special place in my heart when it comes to the dress-up aspect of it. Any dress-up game really is your best bet. There's just so many that I feel like I can't list them all off on the top of my head. But even the really, really bad ones that kind of have very limited customization, if you put in enough effort into it, there's still something you could do to work with it. And even then you can screenshot it and then add whatever you'd like on top of it. So you would have to add a little bit sometimes because, again, some dress-up games are more limited than others, but they're a million miles better than using AI. And it is people's genuine work. There's a lot of talent that goes into each of these dress-up games when it comes to meticulously creating all of these little bits. And, I love dress-up games. I love dress-up in general. If you're more on the artsy side, there's a bunch of different Piccrew-Esque things that you can use. Piccrew has a lot of characters and customization. I think the only downside to it is sometimes they don't have as many diverse profiles to pick from. And again, there's a lot of fandom-based character creation stuff in there too. If you're looking to create a character in a fandom style, Piccrew has a lot. It's just that some don't exactly have, I think, enough customization that maybe some dress-up games do have. But that's more of a personal preference thing more than anything. You know what I mean? But in terms of art styles, they're very versatile, and there's just so many different pit crews to choose from. Each of these pit crews are done by someone who has probably had to draw out everything. I've seen different artists creating their own pit crews, and it's a really tedious thing trying to separate all of the layers, and it's done in the same way that the dress-up games are done, but it's more personal. I think pit crews are really cool, especially for non-artists wanting to visualize their character, and I'll always recommend Piccrew-Esque games alongside dress-up games, even though they are technically in the same vein, if you get what I mean. This one I've been seeing a lot of on Art Talk, and it's still an existent thing. I've talked about it in a couple previous videos. PhotoBashing is probably one of the really, really cool options that I've been seeing people discuss recently, and I have to agree, because when it comes to people that don't want to have to draw everything out, PhotoBashing is such a cool option, and it is a form of artistry. I'm not necessarily like hand drawing everything. It's more or less putting a bunch of different photos together to sort of Frankenstein it into one new thing. And I've talked about this before, but I've seen it with the Genshin fandom and how people would create characters out of the assets from splash arts and then merge all of those together to make their own distinct characters in the style of Genshin. There's a lot of options out there, and as long as you have, I guess, images of characters from that series or game or whatever franchise you want to make a character for, then you can photobash them together to create something new. And if it's not really fandom based, you can use real life references and photobash those together. It's really simple to pick out images from Pinterest also and put them all together. It's a really clever way of doing it. I have yet to try it out myself. I do use it for reference making, but not necessarily for, creating characters themselves. And while I do think it does take a little bit of time, the payoff is worth it in most cases. It's genuinely really useful to learn both as a non-artist and an artist, because again, you are using photobashing, especially for creating your own references when you don't have them. Photobashing is a really cool method of doing your own OCs in a way that doesn't necessarily rip off other artists. I think the ultimate way to visualize your OCs, if you can't do any of these, is to commission artists. And I will always say commission your local artists. But I think now more than ever, it's important to build community with any of your local artists or just artists you like in general, especially if you do like their style and you'd like to see your characters visualized in their art style. I have a love for artists and trust. As soon as I'm able to commission specific artists, I am putting the money in. It'll happen one day. I really do love artists and the stuff that they create. You don't have to use real life money, I don't think. I used to do royal high commissions. Really any in-game money form that you can trade for. I'm sure there's an artist out there who's willing to do commissions for that. On Everskies too, I used to do grayscale commissions through auctions and whatever. There's a lot of really talented artists out there, and I'm sure one of them would be happy and elated to work with you. That's kind of a lame ultimate way to visualize your OC without AI, but it is the best option, I would say. In the end, there's just so many different creative ways of doing character creation without the use of AI and supporting artists at the same time. Because as much as it would be cool to see, oh yeah, what would my character look like? They look like this in a specific style, and I can't draw, so I'm going to use AI to do that. Don't do that, please. Because it is genuinely ripping off artists. Generative AI as a whole pulls from other talented people who write, who draw, and it's taking away their opportunities to expand and continue to do what they love. Especially now, I do want to talk about this a little bit, but if you are using Character Hub, AO3, and a bunch of different sites that I'll probably be listing as I'm saying this, they've recently been scraped for AI data sets. Please do double check. I'm sure people are trying to organize to get this fixed and to get all of that work and writing and everything off of those data sets. It's a lot of stuff that's been scraped. And it's mortifying to think that all of this creativity is being handed to AI to then blatantly rip off and instead be a soulless copy of all of these cumulative artworks. So please do double check if you are a part of any of these things listed, and I hope this helped out a little bit.